Good evening, good evening, good evening. Forgive the slight delay. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Across the Diaspora with myself, Zoe Sarabo. And this evening, I have with me Brother Trimikas Mohammed. For those of you who are frequent viewers of my program, you would know that he's been here before. I think this is your third time on the program, and so I'm excited to have him back again. We'll be having a very what's expected, engaging conversation discussion on a topic that is extremely important for the purposes of our community. Not that any of our topics are not important, but this is very crucial, and we are going to go into detail as to what that means and what I mean by that. And before we get started, I just a little bit of house rules. While I'm live on Facebook, on my Facebook page, also live on the YouTube page, Across the Diaspora. Brother Johnson, I saw your message. Hi, and welcome. Thank you for joining from YouTube. And yes, please go ahead, subscribe, please go ahead, like the channel, like the program, because it is the goal to provide a space for us to have really important conversations that is not just about speaking for the sake of speaking, but for us to move forward in a direction that really empowers us, right, and elevates us as a community. The goal, because I'm an educator, right, by heart, the goal is always for us to leave this space informed, and a little bit more knowledgeable than we were before, right? And so with every information that we've received, with the hope that we can take that and use it for our daily life, to better enhance ourselves personally, but also take it back to the community and to our extended families. So welcome and thank you for joining. Please go ahead and share this, because this is not a conversation that we want to miss, and we want those around us to miss. So thank you again. Brother Chimikas, in case there's anyone, and I know there are a few, but in case there's anyone who's joining who is not familiar with who you are, just a quick introduction of yourself would be great.
Okay. Well, my name is Brother Trimikas. I am the chair of the Phoenix Local Organizer Committee for Justice the Elf, community organizer, a father, a husband, a brother, all of those things. Just love our community. So I'm happy to be on your show. Again, I think it's been more than 3 times.
Yeah,
I think it's been more than 3 times. But yeah, happy to be on your show again, and looking forward to what we're going to discuss tonight.
Awesome.
Looking much forward to it.
Yes. So, so the topic is based on, and I would like you to really talk about the individual, Brother Nuri Mohammed, right? But the topic is based on a conversation or a talk that was provided. We had a guest this weekend, and Brother Trimikas talk about the individual and what's the reason, what's the source of the topic.
So Brother Nuri Muhammad, he came this weekend and did a relationship workshop, a question and answer titled "How to Love a Black Man and How to Love a Black Woman." And very powerful brother, known all over the country. He's been on Breakfast Club, Vlad TV, I believe, and many other shows. A firebrand minister for the Nation of Islam, and he's wrote several books, 6 books. 2 of them I have here. Black Woman, The Second Self of God. And then I have another book by him called Well-Made Man. Wonderful books. And he's got several other books. So an author, a speaker, a lecturer. He came and he gave a wonderful talk. And while he was giving that talk, I was sharing the notes. And some of the notes that I shared generated a lot of conversation, a lot of energy. And Zoe called me up and said, "Hey, you wanna jump in? You wanna talk about these things?" And I had already planned on going live and just trying to explain to the best of my ability what we were sharing from the brothers' notes and lectures. So that's kind of why we're here, and hopefully we can do some justice to those notes. But I also recommend you all go follow Brother Nuri Muhammad on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Purchase his books. You can pick them up on Amazon. Just a wonderful brother. You should really get to know what he's saying and what he's been talking about.
Do you think I can get this in? It's not working. I'm so sorry. I'm really trying to go live on Instagram also because I am working on growing my Instagram following. Is this working? No. We'll try next time.
Pick up right there.
But you're not seeing both of us though. Forgive us. Forgive me, please. Technology is not like my forte. All right, so there we go. No. Were we live? Oh, we were live.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we are live. Okay, we are live. All right. Thank you. I unfortunately, so Brother Nuri Muhammad was here for 2 days. He was here both on Saturday and Sunday. And unfortunately, I missed the Saturday's discussion, the discussion Saturday
Very powerful.
Yes, that's the topic of the conversation today. But I was fortunate to attend the Sunday's portion,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's building. How do we build? It was
do for self.
Do for self.
Going from beggars to builders.
Yes, do for self, going from beggars to builders, and that was powerful. That was powerful.
You have that link?
Yes, I have the link. Yeah, I received it. But I'm still fighting for the what I missed on Saturday. So that was really powerful. It was the first time I met, and I've been aware of Brother Nuri and who he is. And definitely a new fan. Okay. I bought his book. Is it official, the book? Yeah. So I bought one of his books. He has quite a few books. This one, which one do you have for him? I have Before You Say I Do.
Powerful. Before You Say I Do.
And I've been reading this book ever since I purchased it. I've been making markings, marking it up, making my notes. I've been making my notes. Okay. I've been studying, and I've been sending screenshots to people. There's something here that I have question about that I really want to
I'll try to help.
That I want to talk about at some point.
We got to try and get Brother Nuri on your show.
We do. I did on my show.
I'll be honest, I did try. But I wasn't successful. We're gonna try.
Yes, that'll be powerful. So this is really good book because you talk about what books you have for him.
Okay, so I have the Black Woman, the Second Self of God.
I'm reading that next.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a powerful book.
Yes.
And I have the Well-Made Man. Both of these are very powerful books. Just breaking down relationships, breaking down men and our duty and responsibility, breaking down women, their true value, duties and responsibility. Just very powerful. Very powerful. So, I don't like the way you're looking at my books.
No, I'm trying to, I'm gonna borrow it. I'm gonna.
This way.
It's yes. I a friend of mine got that one, and so I glanced at it. That's
the Well-Made Man.
No, the other one.
Okay.
The Black Woman, the Second Self of God.
Very powerful.
Yes.
That's a powerful statement from the teachings of our Elijah Muhammad, and it starts and deals with God and His self-creation. And then we are taught that after God created Himself, the first act of creation after Himself was to create a woman. So He studied. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that God studied Himself and He brought out the best part of Himself, and He called that part woman. So very, very powerful statement in and of itself. Putting the Black woman in her place as the co-creator with God. So this is some powerful stuff.
It is. It is. It is. It is. And we're gonna get back to that specific phrase
Mm.
because um I think if there's a full realization of what that means, there will be a shift.
Yes, a total shift.
There will be a total
A
shift.
total shift.
We'll talk about that shift. We'll
Mhm.
talk about that shift. So this conversation is important. Relationships, the tension between the black man and the black woman, how we engage, communicate, and court each other is so important
Mhm.
because of the state we're in currently, right? Most of you, right, would understand what I mean by that. And it really saddens me. And I'm sure we all feel that way, right? Feel discouraged and unhappy at the condition that we're at, right? As a community, as a people, the way
Mhm.
we interact each other,
Mhm.
see each other, love each other.
Or the
Um,
lack thereof.
huh?
Or the lack
Or the
thereof.
lack, or the lack thereof, or the
Mhm.
lack thereof. Um, we are having conversations, right? But let's talk about dialogue now, right? So we do. What was that? So, Brother Tremikas, we're part of the LOC,
Mhm.
and he took it upon himself to give a training on the meaning of dialogue.
Oh yes.
I didn't appreciate it at first. I'll be honest.
Okay.
No, at first I'm like, why are we doing this?
Mhm.
It's a Tuesday night.
Mhm.
I have things to do.
Okay.
Why are we talking about dialogue
But then what happened?
and communication?
Okay.
But okay, so as we proceeded,
Uh-huh.
right, and as we studied it, I was able to appreciate it.
It's because why did I go that route? Because we have to come to the realization that most of our problems lie in our inability to communicate with one another.
Yes.
We don't know how to dialogue, and I don't even like to use the word communication. Right? That's not a good word. Let's talk about dialogue. Let's talk about analyzing. Let's talk about reasoning. Let's talk about logic. When we talk about dialogue, these are some of the elements that we're talking about. And how do we do that? How do we do that in a way where we understand each other? How do we do that in a way where we listen to each other with an agreeable mind?
Yeah.
And with the mindset that we're actually going to work to solve problems, right? Not create more problems, but how do we work to solve problems? But we're not just talking at each other, but we're talking with each other.
Yeah.
So it's a critical study because anybody who knows the LOC is about organizing and movement building, but at the root of that is relationship building, family building, community building. And if you can't talk and have conversations with each other, matter of fact, John Mills Lewis Farrakhan said the first thing you have to do if you want to unite a people is get them to speak the same language. Dialect. I'm sorry, not language, but dialect. Speak the
Oh.
same dialect.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so in other words, we have to have a means of communicating with each other that we understand each other. We're on
And
that
that
same
is
page.
not happening.
Not
That
at
is
all.
not happening, right? So you can go to any platform, right? Any space and see these conversations happening, right? Go on Clubhouse, people talking about the black man and the black woman, right? Relationships.
Talking about.
Talking about who
Mhm.
should be doing what and who is not doing what and who's not doing enough. Okay. We have Facebook. Everybody is on Facebook, everybody has a podcast talking about relationship. Everybody's an expert.
Mhm.
Everybody is sharing their pain, their concerns, their frustrations, their thoughts, their opinion, right? And then we have our famous Mr. Samuels,
Mhm.
right? And so with all this conversation that is happening, I do not think that we're going anywhere in a productive place, right? It's not being done productively. It's not improving
Mhm.
the dynamic. And so for me, it's hard for me to really appreciate these individuals who seem to have a lot to say
Mhm.
when at the end of the conversation we don't have solution.
Right.
We haven't moved
None.
forward. And so hopefully tonight
We hope to get a few of them in there.
we hope to
With
get
the
a few of
help
them in
with
there.
the help of God.
With
the
yes,
help of God.
yes. So we talked about the black woman being the self of God. Let's go back. Let's start at the root.
Okay.
What do you think is the root of our problem? the black man and the black woman. What is the root of it? We know the problems. What's the root of the problem?
Well, we've lost the knowledge about. No, let me back up. The knowledge of who we truly are has been taken from us, and we've been educated in a false reality. We have to realize that for nearly 600 years, we had an enemy that was in control of our relationships that we had with one another. We were treated like objects, treated like chattel. We were chattel slaves, right? And the mindset for black men was to be great breeders. And the same thing for black women. We were selected like animals for breeding, not for nurturing, not for caring. We have to remember that in this country, it was illegal at one point for a black man to marry a black woman. It was illegal for us to be married. So here you've taken down the family structure. Black men having to watch their families being sold away, watch their wives being raped and not being able to do anything about it. I remember in the movie, I think it was, I can't remember which movie it was. It might have been Django, where the husband was told by the master to bring the Caucasian, to bring his wife to the big house. And he brought his wife to the big house, and they took his wife in the big house and had their way with her, and then sent her back out to him. And it was nothing he could do, right? So the complete emasculation of the black man, right? The idea that the strong black men would be beat to death sometime, that they would tie horses to our limbs and have them run in different directions, right? So the idea of manhood has been taken away, and the sacredness of our women and being a black female has been taken away, and the idea and image that's been given to us is one of self-hatred. The idea that's been given to us is one of being less than, right? And there's no repair work that was done. When we came out of servitude, slavery, there was no repair work. And I'm not just talking about reparations in terms of money, but what do you do? What do you do for the trauma?
That's what you mean by repair when you say reparations on Saturday. I'm like, what are we talking about reparations? Okay.
What do you do? I lost my thought. The psychological and damage, the traumatic experience that we went through, nothing was done to change that. We just went on with our lives. Our self-image was still damaged. So now, what kind of atmosphere does that produce? So, when you go to the root of it, that's what it is. Nobody's saying that the black woman is the second self of God. When the Elijah Muhammad said that after God created, first of all, nobody talks about where God comes from in that sense. He said he was self-created. Then he says, he studied the best part of himself, and he brought that part out and called that part woman, and that she's the co-creator with God. Nobody was using that type of language. But what in the language is truth, and the truth starts the process of repair. Right. So I don't want to get ahead of where we are in the conversation, but the reality is the psychological, the physical damage, the damage on a genetic DNA level that has been done to us has never been repaired. That work has never been done. We just continued on with our lives like everything is normal.
Okay, and so let's continue with that that historical review. Right. So we're moving out of slavery, right? Everything that we know, right, and our essence of who we are has been stripped away from us, right? Transitioning into a society, right, that we're fighting for, right, for freedom, for equality, for humanity, right?
The human being.
Exactly. So we're going through that while still trying to now reconnect, while still trying to establish communities, while still trying to establish families.
You don't have the tools.
We don't have the tools.
You don't have the tools. So you're trying because you know that it should be. Our nature tells us that we should be in love with each other.
Exactly.
We should be together, but you're still under a system, because let's not forget, we didn't come out of slavery and then all of a sudden everything was good. We had 12 decent years of Reconstruction. But then we were right back on the plantation again and sharecropping. And here it is again, a black man having no control over his family. Here's the responsibility of a man to be provider, to be protector, to be maintainer.
Yes.
Well, if you can't provide, meaning that you're working the field, you're not a lazy man, but because of the wickedness of the owners of the land, they're taking away from you your means of providing for your family. So that you're not getting paid for the work that you're doing, and you're getting paid, and what you do receive is not enough to take care of this huge family that you have. Mm-hmm. The Ku Klux Klan, the landowner, anyone who desires to come into your family and do whatever they want to do with your family, there's nothing you can do about it. If you even look like you want to do something about it, they hang you, they kill you. So you can't be a protector. Mm-hmm. You can't produce that. So all of the major traits of manhood have been taken away. What does that do for your woman? Mm-hmm. Now she has to look at the plantation owner. She has to look at those who have power to be the protector, maintainer, and the provider for her family. Not you. You don't have any power. So you're trying to build community under those kind of circumstances. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, no one has sat down with you and told you that you are a man and this is what a man is supposed to be.
Yeah.
We were still calling the Caucasian the man, boss, right? Our master. You can't establish your own community on, and in fact about it, what we experience is those of us who got strong enough to establish communities that stood on their own, they came in and raised the hometown.
Yep. So any symbol, any light, right? Mm-hmm. Any evidence of progress, whatever that starts happening, that's demolished in some mm-hmm. way, right? So we're talking about where right immediately after slavery, then we're moving mm-hmm. on to the 40s, 50s. That's where we are trying to do our building, mm-hmm. even though it's within the context of lynchings and all that, mm-hmm. right? And then we have when did the I don't know, what do you call it, when the government started, was it the social service welfare. So yeah.
We go back. I'm sorry.
There's something happened before that.
You got to go back a little bit before that.
Okay.
Now think about what happened to Fred Hampton.
Yes.
What happened to Dr. King?
Yes.
What happened to Malcolm?
So, yes. All the male figures.
All the Marcus Garvey.
All the male
all
figures.
The strong male figures. Paul Rose were lynched again on another level.
Yes.
So now we're coming into intellectual strength. We're coming into political strength and power, mm-hmm. and we're exhibiting that type of power as men again, mm-hmm. right? And now another form of lynching, mm-hmm. right? Another form of crushing. Mm-hmm. So what is it? What is the message that's being given? If black men stand up, this is you hear it right now today. They say, "Oh, you got to protect that. They're gonna kill you, brother.
Yeah,
they're gonna kill you, sister. If you talk like that." We shy away from standing on principles that we know are true because of the consequences of it, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. We want to stay in a safe space. So, but that started in that time period. Garvey, W.E.B., Booker T, on up to Malcolm and Martin, the Black Panther Party, what they did to them. So this is this constant psychological game of keeping the black community, keeping strong black male figures in check, right? So we have to talk about that. Then we get into the welfare when black women couldn't have. I remember when there could be no sign. I may tell my age, but I remember when there could be no sign of a man being in the house.
It's crazy.
Here I am, a young black man, being raised by my single black mother, and in order for her to get assistance, here we go, maintain, providing, right? In order for her to get the assistance that she needs to maintain her family, there could be no black male present. Yeah. None. So this is very powerful. Then in the midst of that, they came with the black exploitation flicks. They made pimping to be very popular. Yeah.
I don't know why those films are popular. I have no idea why those films are popular.
Yeah.
I saw one. I'm like, what is this?
It's a show on Netflix called Is It Black Enough for You? Is this black enough for you? I recommend everybody go watch Is It Black Enough for You? Because it goes into the psychology of the black exploitation flicks and how they were able to make those popular and why.
I'm embracing those stereotypes
Because because the way that they position it as the strong black male image. See, this is what the strength of a black man was, right? He was the pimp with all of the women, and he had the money, and he had the fine clothes, and he had the fine cars. And as a matter of fact, it's like that now. We just call it hip hop.
Yeah. Yes.
We call it hip hop.
Yes. So you have that, and then you have the drugs, right? Which another step that further remove the man from the home and from the communities, right? And then so now putting the pressure on the woman. Now in the conversations we're having, right? The conversation we're having from certain men in certain spaces, you would swear that black women were living the life of luxury, living off of the system.
You're not living the life of luxury?
Like you would swear that with the man not being there and this assistance that the woman is getting from the government, that she's just enjoying life, taking trips to Europe. So we talked about the system, the systematic control and intentional removal and destruction of the family. Now, the impact that on the man and the woman, right? What effect it has on the community, in the family, in the home, and that pain that has resulted out of it. Because we're seeing it today, we're living that out today, right? And that's the problem with the conversations that we're having now. It's that vitriol and anger and pain without context.
I had to pause for a minute just to kind of gather myself in. It's strange, and I don't want to get off subject, but it's on subject. It's strange how the enemies of the rise of our people, the enemy of black men and women, have done an excellent job in positioning us against each other.
Yep.
I mean, literally, the only solution to our problem is us coming together. Husband and wife, man and woman, mother and father. But this system has literally, at this point in 2023, come full-blown, full circle to a point where we are literally fighting each other and blaming each other to the degree that in many cases it's creating hatred between black men and black women. And we seen that today, right?
Yep.
And you can go on Facebook and go on Instagram and you can see tirades of black women and black men going head to head with each other. What do you bring to the table? Or whatever, you're the independent black woman. And I mean, all of these arguments, I understand them, but they don't get us to the solutions that we need to move our people forward. And the question has to be asked, how did it happen? I've said this before. I don't have anything against any individuals personally, but you can't look at the condition of our people and use our disagreements with each other to fill your pockets. You're looking at the fight, and you're seeing it as an opportunity to raise your status economically, raise your status socially. You're using it, manipulating it to your advantage, not for the betterment of our community. You're not offering real solution, but you're exploiting us for our weaknesses. This is the same thing that the Caucasians have done to us. And this is what we're witnessing in this internet world, in this influencer world, in this social media world, where people are looking for fame and celebrity, but they're not looking to change in the condition of our community. That's what's necessary. But that's a deeper, more involved, more intelligent discussion. Because if you wake up in the morning and I see you and you haven't been cleaned up, you ain't got yourself together, your hair's everywhere, you got sleep in your eye. I mean, of course I can point that out, right? And you are in bad shape. So yeah, our community is in bad shape. But then how do you clean us up? How do you clean us up? How do you make us better? Because all of the problems that we face in our community, if we study them, are because of the black breakdown of the black family.
Yep.
So if your intention is to change the condition of our people, then the first thing you have to do is look and see what do we need to do to repair and rebuild the black family. If you're not part of that solution, then in truth, you're part of the problem. Even though what you're pointing out may actually exist.
It's how it's done.
But I love my wife, I love my children. So if I when they wake up, if things aren't right, son, go wash your face, son. Go brush your teeth before you go out into the world. But we're not even waiting for the person to go out in the world. We've taken the camera inside the privacy of our home. I was listening to I'm sorry, but I was listening to NPR, and they were laughing. And they were talking about these Real Housewives shows, and they were laughing. So no, these are not. They painted a different image of housewives. Well, okay, family, ask yourself a question: who's the author of that?
Not us.
If we don't control Hollywood, we don't control industry, you can hardly get, let's just talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's talk about how you can hardly at one point get a positive image of a black woman to be on a television show. Who came up with the idea that you can take black women and you can expose the worst part of our lives and make it entertainment and make it humorous and make it an example to young girls that are coming up watching it, so that now they're looking and they're mimicking this. Young boys are looking and this is the image of black women that they're getting. That's not the image of my mother. That's not my grandmother and my aunties weren't like that. And if in any case that they were like that, you caught them at their worst. So who decided to take the worst presentation of what black wives, black husband, black life looks like and make it into reality TV shows and put it out in front of the whole world as the image? Now, as an adult, I can look at that and say, oh, well, that's not how it is. Not how it is in my household. But if you're 12, 13, 14 years old, and these shows are being marketed to you, they're teaching you how to interact, particularly if you're in single household, if you don't have a father present, if you don't have somebody with knowledge of self and understanding of self in your household to give you the proper self-image to say, oh, wait a minute, that's not the right image, son. That's not the right image, daughter.
But to what degree do we respond to what is put on us as culture and the representation of who we are? And that's what bothers me. Like, we have come to the point where we just willingly accept anything that is fed to us, right? And then, well, it's not me, that's not my lifestyle, it has nothing to do with me. Like, what is that, right? Because it affects us, it impacts us, right? As we talk about the younger generation, I've taught younger children these images, they have an influence and an impact on the younger minds, and it then reflects on who we are, right? And it shapes and forms how the young black boy look at us and how the young black girl sees herself. And so at what point are we going to say that's enough, right? And we're not going to take this anymore, right? Because now it's shaping how we interact with each other, right? Because we've lost that structure. Not that we really had it. We've completely lost the structure. We have social media, and we have these reality television shows that is framing and guiding us and educating us and telling us how we interact with each other. And so it's all becoming like a big messy situation.
It has to come to a point where we take responsibility for where our community goes.
Yes.
It's a slave mentality. You know, I have to go back to this. People don't like this. Kanye said slavery was a choice, right? But that's not exactly what he said, right? But it was important. It was important when he put context behind that on his Twitter feed when he said, if we go down, I'm paraphrasing and putting it together, but he said, if we continue to go down the road that we're going down with knowledge, then now slavery becomes a choice because we are choosing to stay in the condition we're in. What do you mean? A slave is one, according to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said, a slave is one that the circumference of his activity is governed according to his master's wishes. So if the Caucasian can put a show out and say, this is what a black woman is. If he can put a song out and he can say, or a rapper out, a video out and say, this is what the black woman is. If he can put a movie out and say, this is what the black man is. And we take that, we ingest that, we accept that, and then we start imitating that art in our communities. Then we have made a choice to be mental slaves.
Yep.
We have made a choice to allow someone else to paint for us the image and the imagery of who and what we should be, and the direction of our future is being determined by this imagery. This is very important because you can't tell me, I know you're going to have a little problem with this, but I got to say it.
What?
You cannot tell me that in the times of Aretha Franklin and Betty White, and all these wonderful sisters, these beautiful black women, the Supremes, and
Betty
Diana...
White? Betty White.
Betty White, what'd I say?
Betty White.
What'd I say?
Betty White.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about. My point is, these women singing these songs and presenting these images, you didn't have black girls at their time who were mastering twerking. Think about it. They literally took stripper culture, a culture that was in the clubs, in the back alley, in the dark, and said, okay, we're going to take this culture and make it the norm for your community. Now, I was talking to a sister the other day, and she said, well, that's the Western mindset. I said, we live in the West. We live in the West. So you can't say, I see the look you got on your face. You can't say.
It is the Western mindset.
Yeah.
So. But no, it makes sense in this context.
We live in the West.
Exactly. So it makes sense.
You have to take it in the context of where we live.
Yeah.
You can go into the Africa, you can go into the continent, and sisters can walk around naked, and brothers have no problem. You better not do that on 27th and Broadway. You better not do that in the hood. You're going to have some problems. They're going to be Googling and pulling out their cameras, and they're going to have a field day disrespecting you, right? But that has become the cultural norm. So the image of black women as the cultural norm is what we seen. Y'all seen it. Erykah Badu and her daughter that's going around on Facebook. Now, I'm not judging them.
I am.
But I said it the other day, in this society, you would not know the value or the existence of black women except that they turn to their side. The black woman has literally been judged and measured according to the size of her buttocks. Yeah. This is it. So that idea and that thinking being put in the minds of our young girls. And then here's the young boy come along. He's not coming around thinking I'm going to be the provider and the maintainer, and I'm going to marry, and I'm going to keep my duty and responsibility to her. That's not what he's thinking. He's thinking, how can I get with this girl, get some pleasure out of her, and move on? And then here's the kicker. They've taken the same mindset in the name of equality. And now the black woman now has the same mindset?
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to be a nurturer. I'm not going to be a consoler. I'm not going to help this man to reach his goals in life. No, let me see what you can do in bed. So this is the extent of black female relationship, black male relationship. How much pleasure we can provide for each other, not mentally, not growing each other's ideas spiritually, feeding each other's thinking, studying together. I was so naive. This is my last point. I was so naive. I joined the Nation of Islam when I was 16. I had around these brothers, everybody's married, right? You know, I'm in this culture. I didn't have a girlfriend, right? And when I started, my personal experience, when I started talking to women, I kept having these bad experiences, right? Because my mindset was, I want to get married. I'm like 17, 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old. My mindset is, I want to get married. I want to have a family. Because this is the culture I'm coming out of. But the culture I'm reaching into, that ain't the mindset. Now just think about that. So what is going to be the experience of young black men and young black women if their mindset is not that they're going to be husband and wife, they're going to be mothers and fathers to the same children? What is going to be their experience? The experience is going to be broken hearts. It's going to be traumatic.
Trauma.
Then it's going to develop. You're going to develop hatred between each other.
Yep.
So now, when you hear the black man talk, he talk about all the pain he experienced. Then the black woman say, "Oh, yeah, you experience pain, but my pain, I've got pain too, because you like this and you like that." So here you got two people in pain, in trauma, in hurt, interacting with each other, but now they producing children. So now the children grow up under that hurt and under that pain from both mother and father. What kind of mindset that produces in the child? And this continues from generation to generation to generation. So the question you ask him, what should our reaction be, is critical, because this is detrimental now. This is dealing with the future of our people. Because if we don't fix it today, they're not going to have the knowledge on how to fix it tomorrow. Yeah. We're talking about 2 to 3, maybe 4 more generations that we're going to be trying to fix this. All in the midst of a hostile environment. How did that happen?
So let's get to that question. So the comment that you posted on your we're gonna have to push it back. Nope. So they'll understand. So the comment that you posted on your page, right, was a quote from Brother Nuri Muhammad. I don't have my phone with you. It was along the lines of it's a topic for this evening, right? The happiness of the woman, right, is based on the quality of the black man, right? The quality of the man, and how he is able to provide that environment and space for the woman.
So I want to pull it up.
He's pulling it up right now.
And I want to.
So we're responding in context with everything that we just said, right?
I want to lay the context. Now, this was Brother Nuri speaking and me sharing the notes as he was speaking. So I was trying to capture as much as I could. That's very important. And
is a woman's happiness a sign of the quality of the man?
Well, I want to read the whole because it has to be taken in context, and I think a lot of people didn't see it in the proper. Here it is. It said the woman demand from the man, and he's quoting now Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I got the quote here. And one, I'm gonna pull it out. It said the woman's demand from the man must be met first before a man's demand from the woman can be met. Then I put the end part of it. If she's not happy, that's a sign that you are not a good man. Now, a lot of people some people took issue with that, right? I want to start with this word sign, because some took it like to say, well, you're saying that I'm not a good man because she's happy.
Because she's not happy.
She's not happy, right? Now, I'm gonna get to it. You're not gonna like my answer. It says a sign. The definition of sign is quality or event whose presence or occurrence indicates the probable presence or occurrence of something else, right? So I looked it up. Rutgers and the University of Michigan did a study, and they polled some couples, older couples, and they were rating the quality of happiness in these couples. And what they found was that in a marriage, 30 years or longer, where the man was a good provider, that he secured his family, that he provided maintenance, that he was loyal, right? That these women were happy. Then they did another study, and I'm going to pull that one up a little bit later, and they talked about 7 signs of unhappiness in marriage for women. And just about every single sign of unhappiness for a woman in marriage was tied to her husband. He wasn't loyal, or he wasn't listening. He wasn't a good provider. And several others. They were all tied to some duty and some responsibility. Now, somebody else will look up on the internet, and you can look it up, because I looked it all up because we had to do our research before we come. Is your happiness tied to your spouse? And you will find 1,000 articles that will tell you, no, you're responsible for your own happiness. I disagree. And let me tell you why I disagree. Because marriage is a contract. Marriage is an agreement. And if marriage is done properly, that contract and that agreement is based on service. It means that you look at the needs of your partner, and you try to serve and secure the needs of your partner. If you don't do that, your partner will not be happy. Now, what most people have done, this is Brother Tremicus' conclusion. What most people have done, because we don't have knowledge of ourselves, we don't know who we are and what we are as men and what that responsibility means. And we definitely, as men, don't have any idea what women want, what they need, what our responsibility to them is. We give up. And we say, look, it's your duty and your responsibility now, woman, to find happiness on your own. Or the woman says the same thing. But that's selfishness. In Islam, marriage is called nikah, which means unity. So marriage is 2 people becoming one. If both of us become one, we're tied together. And I've developed a love for you. I've developed a care for you. I've developed a care for your well-being. If you're sick, I'm not happy. If you're depressed and sad, I'm not happy. If you have reasonable needs that need to be met, and I'm not able to help you to meet those needs, I'm not happy. Okay, so on a base level, if a man doesn't perform his duty, if he doesn't perform his responsibility in the marriage, it produces an unhappy household. The woman is part of the household. So in that case, brother, I'm not talking about girlfriend and boyfriend.
I think that, I'll let you finish that.
I'm done. In the case of marriage, a man who does not perform his duty will produce an unhappy wife. Now, is this 100% across the board? No, but I guarantee any man, and this is hard for us as men. Me and my wife just had this conversation coming over here. Well, there are things we miss. If you're not sitting down, communicating, talking to your spouse, what's happening? Why are you not happy? And then you sit there and listen. We don't like to listen. Well, the lights keep getting turned off. The water bill is late, the mortgages. Well, I tried. I've done all I can. I understand. What we don't do is sit and listen to each other to find out what that person's need is.
That is true.
And then say, okay, I'm going to do what I can to help you with that need. Even if the person say, well, look, I'm going through a serious mental breakdown and crisis. You should be looking in the phone book for a good psychiatrist or a good psychologist and taking your spouse to see that psychiatrist or that psychologist to get therapy. If they say, I have visions and dreams that I want to accomplish. My wife has had 5 children. In having 5 children, she sacrificed some of her dreams. So now it's my responsibility if she produced these 5 children for me to look at what her dreams and aspirations are and say, well, what can I do? But it would be very selfish of me to say, well, that's your fault.
Exactly.
That's on you. You're responsible.
You gotta find your happiness. You figure it out.
And
figure it out.
If I gotta find my happiness outside of my marriage, or find my happiness independent of my marriage, I'm gonna be happy over here by myself.
Yeah. And that's I think and the thing is, there's some people who are actually married that were making those comments. And so for me, I am thinking finding that happiness within is important when you're single and you are, I was actually reading this book and he said that you are not, one of the things that mistakes people make is seek marriage so that someone can make you feel better about yourself, right? Totally understanding that's a big no-no, right? That you need to have a sense of peace within yourself of who you are, sense of fulfillment, right? Before you seek a partner. That's understandable within that context. It makes total sense. But if you are already in that union, you're in a marriage, right? And you are not being fulfilled in some way, it is understandable that your partner will help you.
It's a immature mindset to say that you won't. How do you justify that? How do you justify your partner not being happy and you not taking real steps to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to help your partner secure happiness? Now, I understand when somebody says, well, I can't be responsible for your happiness. You're responsible for your own happiness. I understand it. I just disagree with the mindset.
Yeah,
I disagree with the mindset. We go into marriage to serve one another. If I go to the restaurant and the waiter comes to my table, the waiter is her job is to provide me with good service. The better service that they provide me with, the better tip they get. In fact about it, most people that wait tables don't get a high wage. The money that they make is based on their service. What you get out of your marriage is based on your service. If she's not giving you what you need, then you got to first question, how good is my service? Well, I ain't never home. I never have a conversation. Here you are, brother. The woman needs a conversation, and you on the video game all day. You trying to beat, I'm sorry. You trying to beat the high score. Here's you outside. This is not funny. But you trying to beat the high score. But you're not trying to beat her high score. You're not trying to be a better man. And look, my mother told me this. I'm sorry, this was this true confession. I was just having bad luck in relationships, right? And my mother told me I had broke up with this sister. I just knew this was it. And she said, the sister told me, you're too nice or something like that. She told me. And my mother told me this. She said, I want y'all to think about this. She said, Tremikas, she said, the Black woman has been through so much. Now, think, sister, about your first love that you gave everything to and how he treated you. Because if you ain't with him, how did he treat you? He broke your heart. So now every man that come after you, he's got to try and get through this trauma
Yep.
that you experienced with your first love that you gave everything to. Now multiply that for every bad relationship that she's had. So now the black woman come, she's damaged. She's hurt. You messed up too, brother, but she's damaged. She's hurt. So now you come along and you treating her like she's a diamond. She said, in some cases, she said a woman will look at a man like that and she say, I ain't worth nothing. Hell, she's still trying to get from her first love back what she gave him. So she's looking at your treatment of her from a jaundiced eye, and she's thinking it's got to be something wrong with you if you value me this much. Now, once you equip with that knowledge as a man, what level of patience do you have? What level of understanding do you have? What level of kindness do you have? Because now you understand that you're navigating through this territory. And here's the other thing. If a man ain't intelligent and he ain't got wisdom,
He won't be able to deal with that.
He won't be able to deal with that, nor will he be able to pull out of her what's in her for him. This is the greatest challenge. This is what the brothers say. Well, what she bring to the table? Well, brother, she can only present at the table what you're able to pull out of her. She can only give you what you are able to mine out of her, what you're able to dig out of her. And this is why your experience is the same from woman to woman to woman, because you're thinking, well, I'm doing the right thing.
Now let's speak to the man, right? Because wait.
No, you want to stick to the man?
No, you've been talking. No, not stick. No. Well,
go ahead. I'm just go ahead.
Like there are a lot of wounded men out there, right?
There are a lot.
There are a lot of wounded men out there, and so you're speaking from the position of healed, right? Intelligent men, emotional intelligence, who have the ability to say, okay, this is my role and this is my responsibility, and let me try to do this work. Because you're saying this is what you need to do as a man. But if you're not able to play that role, how do we speak to those wounded men that we were reading today? Because that is a whole long list of them.
Well, that's a different kind of repair work. There is, man, and I'm going to go this route. For me, there's a certain healing in the word. Now, from a religious standpoint, we're talking about the word of God. A man has to be willing to study the problem that he's dealing with. And that means that he has to, again, I'm going to go back to this, brother. You can't be playing the video game. You can't have your mind on the football game. You have to pick up books.
Something.
Read.
Something.
On relationships. Read. Listen, here. Now, I got this book. Some of y'all going to think I was tripping. I got this book for me. And I got this book for my wife. But you know what I did? I started reading this book. I said, well, I need to be a well-made man. I said, but I need to understand this black woman. How you going to be in a relationship with black women and you're not reading to understand black women? How you going to, same for the sisters, how you going to be in a relationship with the black man and you can't study your
We
uncle.
don't understand each other.
You can't study Uncle JoJo and Aunt Barnice, who used to get drunk and fight on the weekend. You don't have a mother. Most of us don't have a mother and a father as an example in the home that had a good, loving relationship. Now check this out. I learned this listening to the minister today. Now think about this. Here we are in a community. Well, where does it start? It starts at home. It starts with the relationship between mother and father.
Yeah.
If the mother and father are showing affection for each other, they're showing love for each other, they're fighting who can serve the other the best. The children are watching this. Now, do you know that it develops a nurturing relationship between children? They will act with each other out what they see what's happening between the parents. I got 5 boys. You won't believe it. My boys don't even argue. They may have discussion, little back and forth. They don't fight. I've never had my children one to hit one upside the head and none of that. I got 5 boys, age 22 to 8. They don't even fight and argue. But guess who else doesn't fight and argue? Me and his mama, me and their mother. We have disagreements. We have discussion, but we ain't cussing each other out, throwing plates across the room. F you, well, F you ain't nothing but a. Now, if the children are watching and learning how to relate to each other from the parents, and then they now can develop a bond of love and between each other. Well, what happened? If we serve it, they serving each other. Now they got a spirit to serve each other. My boys, I got an 8-year-old. Every time we go to the store, any one of them go to the store, the brothers ain't present, but they're always thinking about what can I get for my brother to bring. It's really irritating when you go to the store because you don't want to buy something for one, but you can't kill the spirit of him to look out for his brother.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what. So now they develop the spirit of service. When they develop that nurturing, that bond, that spirit of service, when they go out into the community, what do they become?
Same thing.
See, so we're not understanding how important us and our relationship and interaction. Now, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I lost my thought. Look, my wife is trying to help me while we're on the show, and I'm reading the messages. And she put a message here. You can't look down on your phone. I'm looking down on my phone. but even that. Yeah. Look at the helping of one another. Yeah. We don't understand. This translates in our family life into our community life. We could literally change the condition of our community, but it got to start with a study, an understanding. You got to have the hard conversation. You know what you got to be able to say. In your marriage, I'm not happy. And you got to be able to say, I don't know why I'm not. You can't wait till you mad.
But in a way, I think we are saying that in a very unproductive, unhealthy way. We're saying that to each other.
We are saying it.
We are not happy, but it's done in silos. It's done in a way in which we're not seeing or dialogue. The dialogue part, right?
Reason.
It's done in a way exactly. It's done in a way that's not reasonable, and we're not hearing each other. Not logical.
It's not
all we're doing is doing this.
We're not looking for agreement.
No.
I have a point that I'm getting ready to make,
and you need to hear it.
And that's it.
That's it.
And if I don't like your point, now I'm slicing. I've done it. I've sliced it. Well, I didn't say that. Now I'm.
So they're reading. So Victoria said, I'm going to read a little bit of the comments here. I think most women need security content. Happiness is more likely when her household is secure. So she's agreeing with you. Devin says, great conversation. Victoria, I was once told, don't lay out what I can put on the table. When a man hasn't even set up the table to receive what I can. Can we talk about this table?
Let's talk about that.
I'm annoyed by this table.
Listen, now, Brother Nuri said this. I thought this was very powerful. We got it from now. Minister Farrakhan said that before you choose a man, he should meet at least 70% of what you have in your mind for an ideal mate. And he said you should make a checklist. I want him to be this. I want my man to be this. I want my man to be this. I want my man to be this. Then he said this. Now here's we at the table. He said, don't tell him what you're looking for.
Yep, I've heard that.
So now when you talk about coming to the table, No. You just show up at the table and see what he got in his menu.
Yep.
And if it don't check out, brothers and sisters, but let's just talk about sisters. If it don't check out 70% of what you have in your mind that you keep into yourself, you can't tell him, because then he gonna become everything you want.
Yep.
What you like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, you can tell him you want him to be a muscle brown man. They got outfits you can buy now that you can put under your clothes that'll give you muscle, right?
Yeah.
He said that if you marry a man that does not meet at least 70% of your want, then you married, in his words, a project, not a partner. So now your mind is that, here you go, sister, you trying to build a man.
But we talked about mining, though, right? It talks about the
mining
woman.
And building is two different things.
Yes, it's seeing the potential. Now, potential, right? Is seeing that thing or being able to bring out of him the best of himself. Do that for each other.
He did a good example. He talked about the equipment that you need in life.
Yes, as a woman.
And the equipment, he talked about the canary. He said that when they find a mine, they send the canary in, and the canary is a very sensitive creature.
Yes.
That's able to find those areas that are sensitive enough to mining, where you can send human beings in and actually mine. Mm-hmm. So then he talked about the sensitive and gentleness of women. Mm-hmm. So now, before you can mine what's out of a man, are you a sensitive woman? Are you a gentle woman? Are you coming in to this man with the hardness of another man, making a demand that he become something, or are you coming in your feminine power?
That's what we bring, right?
And your feminine power. Ooh, look. Your feminine power.
You continue talking. I'll step away for a second.
Okay.
Forgive me. Okay. No, forgive me.
Your feminine power, sister. I gotta say this now. You ain't gonna like this. Some of you ain't gonna like it. Your feminine power is not in between your legs. Just say that. Can I say that like that? That's not your feminine. That's not your feminine power. In fact, about it, it can not only confuse you, it can confuse him. The only power that is equal to or that can compete with the power of love is the power of lust. Most of our relationships are not based on the power of love. Most of our relationships have been based on the power of lust. So the mining of what's in that man, he gone crazy. He outside your windows at night. I mean, he got a tractor on the bottom of your car, right? No, you didn't drove the man crazy because you didn't gave him the pleasure. And in some cases, you've been driven crazy because he done laid it down in the bedroom. And this is the basis of our relationship. But that's not mining out the potential of the man. You know what? If for my Phoenix LOC family that's on the, I almost want to ask y'all to come over here, right? Because this might be the discussion we need to have, right? But so the gentleness and your feminine power is the divinity of you. Okay. Then he said, every miner has a helmet with a light on it. And the light allows you to see. So what knowledge do you have? Do you have knowledge that you can look at this man and understand what you're looking at? Do you have knowledge that you can look at the skill set, you can look at the potential of this man?
We don't though.
And this is the problem. And because we don't have that knowledge first, we get into these relationships with each other, and we don't have that knowledge first. And these relationships become not instruments of repair, they become instruments of our destruction. That makes sense. Yeah. I know you kind of walked away.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
So this being able to mind the man again. Do you understand him? Do you understand what makes a well-made man? Is it the jewelry? Is it the car? Because a lot of times the equation of the value of a man is about how much money he makes and how much material. You're not looking for the intelligence in his head.
And that's where she's saying reading when you don't have a model is critical, right?
Yes, there you
Like
go.
you like we don't have a framework
Mm,
to base
mm,
our understanding of what we're looking for.
mhm,
You know what should guide us,
mhm,
right? And
mhm,
so we have institutions like the church, right? We have institutions like the mosque,
mhm.
but many of us have moved away,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Many of us are just out, mostly women are in these institutions
Mhm,
anyway,
yes.
right? And
Mhm,
so I had a conversation with an elder a couple weeks ago, and she told me it's whomever it is that you're seeking to, that you have an interest in, find it from them. What is their source, right? What is it that they lean on? What is it that they rely on? What is guiding them, so that if they want you to lead, which is critical,
critical.
ladies,
Mhm.
right? And I had to say this to someone. All right, good. You want to be the leader, right? You want me to trust your judgment and leadership. But what is it that is guiding you, so that I know that you have something that I can trust, that whatever that you rely on, right, is will help in guiding in the decision that you're making.
Don't be no dummy following no dummy. This is so this is so critical, right? In the Bible for my Christian family, it says that man is the head of woman. But wait a minute, and Christ is the head of man,
Mm,
and of course, the head of Christ is God. So now, if she's the second self of God, because I want to get real specific, if after God created himself, he created her and made her a co-creator with him, that means now, sister, you're not the woman of that man. You're the woman of God. So then now, where is his morals? Where is his character? Is this man on the path of right mindedness, right guidance, spiritual development? Because ultimately, if you get in a relationship with him, he becomes your leader. Ultimately. So do you want to be under? Because listen, if he can't use wisdom and reason and logic to bring you over to where he's going, then what is he going to use?
exactly.
He's either going to try and use his sexual prowess, and that ain't going to last for long, right? Because you're going to get tired of that, right? Or he's going to try to use his physical strength. So, and or verbally abuse you. So then you got narcissists. You have manipulating and gaslighting to make you feel like less of a woman to get you to follow their will.
Yeah.
So then a woman has to be extremely careful in this kind of world, because you got to realize, wait a minute, when they robbed us of our name, our religion, our God, our culture, what did they put in its place? That means that the slave master's mind and thinking, the Caucasian mind and thinking, the Western man's mind and thinking became your man's mind and thinking. So unless something comes in to replace that, that is what he's going to resort back to. You got to make sure that you're dealing with a wise man. You got to make sure you're dealing with a man that's picking up books, he's reading, he's studying, and not just intellectual growth, but spiritual growth. Again, because if you're the woman of God, not the woman of man, then knowledge and intelligence is only going to go so far with you. You're going to need spiritual growth and development to be coming out of this man, because you're going to find at a certain point in your life, your need from him is not just financial. Your need from him is not just physical. You're going to need that man to be able to help guide you and strengthen you on a spiritual level.
And that's what Brother Gaston is saying. Hey, Brother Gaston.
Peace, brother.
Peace,
Gaston.
brother. Since we are energy or spirit first, that is what should be repaired first, using our African cultural worldview. Can we speak on that? Using our African, because look, many men are out there. Mm-hmm. Right, and so what is out there? What work would the man have to do to be his best self, so that he can be able to be the best self when he is approaching a woman.
Let me tell sister something. Now I'm an I'm an older man than I was, right? When I came into the Nation of Islam. My blessing was and is that I was surrounded by men who were trying to live righteous lives, men of good character, men of moral character. So as a young man, I'm not using because it's a lot of things I'm off in,
Yeah.
right? But as a young man, these strong men gave me a foundation. Sisters, look at the men around the man.
Yep.
Now, I'm trying to tell you now. The old people say birds of a feather flock together. When you look around at the men around him, it's telling you something about the quality of man he is. And I don't care what he tells you. I'm giving this example, using myself as an example. I'm not big into football. I'm not, right? So if I'm around a bunch of men, they talking about football, I don't have no place. After a while, I'm not going to keep company with them. We don't carry the same interests. If your man is keeping company with lower quality men who are not trying to study and grow themselves spiritually, men who are not trying to develop themselves financially and economically, men, here you got a man, your man is the best friend, is another man that's got children that he don't take care of. And your man that you're looking at is okay with that. That's his business. I'm telling you, when you get in a relationship with men who are not around men who are like, because it's like a tree, right? And you know when they plant a tree, they want it to grow straight.
Yep.
They tie a string to it and pull it a certain direction.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, it'll grow big and strong, but it'll fall over on itself. So men have to have strong stakes and pillars in the form of other men around them that's guiding them to say, no, brother, don't go that way. No, brother, don't do that. No, brother, you got a family, you got a wife, you got children, or brother, you got more going for you than for you to go that direction. As a matter of fact, brother, we not accepting that. Brother, have you? I know you and your wife not together, but have you called your children today? Wait a minute, brother. You got some nice shoes on, but I seen your boy at the school the other day. He had raggedy shoes on. How come you got nice shoes on and he got raggedy shoes on? Oh, wait a minute. You mad at the baby mama, so now you're going to take it out on the children? Wait a minute, bro. I get it, but you can't come over here no more. You can't hang with us no more. I don't want to take care of your responsibility as a man. Your lights are not being paid, but you try to hang out with us at the club or party with us, but you're not paying your bills at home. Brother, I ain't seen you go work a job in 6 months. How you taking care of your family? Women have to be patient enough to allow men to get in circles of other men. And if you're interested in them and you see circles of men, you say, go over there. And Sister, don't give yourself to him if he won't go to a place that will make him better.
Yep. That's a whole word right there. That like I think I told you about this. I don't know if I told you about this. I was in a clubhouse. I was in a clubhouse and the clubhouse is messy. So the conversation was going on in clubhouse, right? Yeah, saying the most mean stuff to each other. These men are degrading these women and telling them all kinds of stuff. And I was like, basically, I left a comment like saying, women, just close your legs. Like, remove yourself, right? If this is what you're receiving, why are we still availing ourselves to these men, right? Because I feel as though, can we talk about that a little bit? As I feel as though once we remove ourselves and work on ourselves, right, our own healing, because we have our work to do for ourselves, right, that will force the man to do what he needs to do because we're not helping him to elevate.
I'm a student of Islam, as everybody knows. I study the Quran, and it's wisdom there. in the Quran, this is not the perfect quote, but it tells men and women that marry those among you who are fit. So let's go back to the 70% rule, right? Marry the ones among you that are fit, that are right, that have good character, that are moral. If you can't find someone like that, it says keep chaste.
Yep.
Now, chastity is something that's unheard of in these modern times. Okay? That's like craziness, right? We have to learn, men and women, you should learn to fast. Fasting will help you control your sexual appetite. We need to become more disciplined.
Yep.
Now, you may argue with me all day long, but what is it producing? Here you having relationships, intimate relationships with individuals that you don't have a love or a true interest. You just have an urge, and you satisfy that urge, but now you got some soul tie. You can't get away from this person. Y'all keep pulling on each other. Oh, and don't let a child come out of the relationship. Now you pregnant sister with a man's child. I know a sister, she got pregnant with the man's child, and he said, I don't want to have a baby. He offered for her to get the divorce, not the divorce, for the abortion. She refused the abortion. He said, I don't want to have nothing to do with you or the child. So now you stuck with a child from a man that don't want you or the child. You got to go through that for 9 months and go through that pain, and then you raise that child for 18 years. What kind of trauma is that in your life? So when it says for us to keep chaste, it is a protection for us so that our mind is what, and our spirit is what helps us make the decision, not our urges. Our urges are destroying our community.
Yeah.
So now this is critically important, because it's not just, sisters, you need to keep your legs closed, and you do, for a man that ain't the right man. Brother, you need to keep your pants up for a woman that you don't have good intentions for and that you recognize is not the right woman for you. Because if we don't learn how to control these urges, and these urges guide us, then it's not a mystery of what produced what's in the community. What we keep doing is damaging each other because we're playing with each other. And just as much as this woman is the woman of God in the Quran, man is called Khalifa, meaning he is the successor of God. And the term husband is one who has a responsibility over another that doesn't belong to him. So the man is allowed to sit in the position of God. So she's special and he's special too. But we don't see each other as special. And because we don't see each other as special, we treat each other like we pieces of meat, like we are something to be used and thrown away. And that's what you seen. I believe we seen on that chat. You seen men that have been used by women and then thrown away.
Yeah.
And then you seen the response from women who have been used by men and then thrown away.
Now they have now stepped in dangerous territory. They have stepped into, and now if they're listening, they'll know who we're talking about. Mothers. Now, I was with my association, right, with different individuals, I can understand the pain. I can understand the pain, right?
Oh yes, yes.
So we've always held the status of motherhood, right, as so important, right? The Black man's love for his mother despite anything else, right? Now we've entered a space where these men are now telling their mothers how much they hate them. That is painful, right? And I think women need to listen to this, right? Very, very, very carefully, right? That we really, really need to be careful in how we raise our children, how we raise our boys, right? Because we don't know the damage We don't know the damages being caused.
Here you got a mother. The father came and produced a child, and then he left. No good, whatever. He left. Now, every time the mother looks at the son or the daughter, but look at the son especially, he looks just like his daddy. As he grows older, he develops the mannerism of his father. So now the mother angry at the father, taking her anger of the father out on the child. Now he grows, he's a little man, but now he grows into a big man. And he remembers her treatment of him. See? This goes all the way back. We're not understanding how our actions and our activity in our community is producing an environment. And when you produce a man who does not love his father or mother, and now he's got to interact with other women, if those relationships don't go right, she reminds him of the mother that he hates. And if he does it enough, then that starts now becoming his view of all women. And as I said to you earlier, the danger of that is that these men are still in the dating pool. So here's a man that hates women, but he's got an urge. He likes women. And he's in the dating pool and he's having relationships with women. So what happens when natural disappointment comes up in a relationship? What happens when she says or does something that he doesn't like? Yeah. What happens when she don't respond the way that he wants her to respond? So now he's in his trauma. Yeah. Now let that man get with a woman who's now upset him, but in the process, she's become pregnant and produced another child. Now he's got a child with a woman that he don't like. So now he don't want to be around the child because being around the child ties her to him. Now what kind of mindset and what kind of trauma does that produce? And now we're talking about generational curses. Yeah. See, we gotta, what I'm saying may hurt and sting, but we gotta take a look at what we're doing to ourselves, because once we realize that and realize our mistake, we have an opportunity to turn it around. Yep. I was talking to a sister the other day. She has a mentor, and it was some guy in the neighborhood. She's a beautiful sister. Some guy in the neighborhood liked her, and she's a lonely and she's taking his company, but he likes her. Mm-hmm. She don't like him. Mm-hmm. But she's enjoying his company. Mm-hmm. Her mentor, being a man, an older man, said, look, he said, if you don't like the man, leave him alone. Are you interested in him? No, I'm not interested in him. We'll leave him alone. Mm-hmm. And she left the man alone before it went too far. But he stopped speaking to her altogether, right? Because even though it didn't go that far, his emotions were involved. See, we got to stop playing these games with one another, men and women. It's a song, that song, You Can Do Damage. We're doing damage to one another, and we're not realizing the amount of damage that we're doing to one another because we're not thinking logically and thinking through our actions. We just find a level of enjoyment and we follow that pathway, but it's producing problems in our community that are becoming problems that are detrimental to our future as a people. And if we love ourselves, then we got to start moving in a direction that now changes we got to change our thinking.
Well, we got to be moving in the opposite direction from what culture is trying to tell us how we need to act and towards each other.
Which means we got to, yes, and that means we got to change the way we think.
Yes.
To change the way we think, we change the way we act.
Yeah. But how do we? What's the reference point, right? Because somebody talked about reading a book and having that model, right? What is the reference point? to be able to guide us. You talked about community, right? Men being around other men,
Mhm.
that can be that support system, right? I feel women have already started doing the
They
internal
have.
work, right?
Women have done it.
Women have already started doing the internal work. And I think as we do that, we really in a healthy way start holding the men around us accountable, right? Listen, for those of us who are single, have conversations first, really listen and pay attention to what they say, use discernment, because that's what I do. I just let you talk. I just let you talk, right? And then I'm able to make a decision like, yeah, yeah.
The woman sets the standard.
And that's
So
and that's what we don't realize though.
yeah,
Women do not realize
set the
that
standard.
we set the standard.
It goes to the saying, right? A nation can rise no higher than its woman. The Honorable
Yes.
Elijah Muhammad said a nation can rise no higher than its woman, right? The old saying, she who rocks the cradle controls the world. Is that the saying? Is that how it goes?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
Yes,
You know what I'm
yes.
talking
Yeah, I know
about.
what you're talking about.
The reality is the woman is the first teacher, right? She's the language of, and I'm just quoting the minister, the language of a baby for God is mama, right?
Mm,
So the woman has a huge degree of control over the direction that the community goes, that's the direction that the men go, because if it's not acceptable to her, then it won't exist. Even if you say, look, all these men are like this, and there's nothing we can do about these men. I don't believe that. I'm just using it as an example.
mm,
She can start right now raising her children with an entirely different mindset. So women have to understand their power because the enemy has.
mm-hmm.
The cultural giants, Beyonce, the cultural giants, Cardi B,
Rihanna.
Rihanna,
Oh.
Meg The Stallion. They are the cultural giants that they put out for the whole world to influence the whole world. Think on that.
Mhm.
And in particular, you have to, it's not a coincidence that they're taking black women and using black women as this center of influence over black girls, because the prize of war, the prize of the destruction of the black man is the black woman. They have always wanted to have the black woman in their possession, in their control, because they know that as long as they have control over the black woman and the black woman in their possession, they can produce from her mind whatever it is that they desire. Why? Because she is the co-creator with God. The first act of creation, self-creation, God himself. Second act of creation was the woman. After that, the universe. So what it's saying is that this woman can help produce a world. But if the black woman don't see herself as that kind of power, then you can manipulate her because she don't know her value.
It's not about you. And she doesn't. You know why? Because I hear a lot, and this is going to be the last point. Last point. We start closing off. Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. I know it's late. You're not getting phone calls, so nobody. They're not blowing up your phone. But last point. We got to close it off. We got to close it off. My apologies to our LOC team. We have a meeting that he's very late for. My apologies. But people are responding though.
This is beautiful.
People are
God is the
responding.
best know. God is the best know. What do we got?
But the what really lets me know women do not understand their power and their position and their role is when when their responses to what men do is, well, we can do it also, right? Well, then if you can do it, why we can't do it? You know, and I think, and that can be a different conversation for a different day. But I think we're going into this equality, femininity, you know, we can do the same thing. I think we've lost the understanding that we do have our own individual roles, and a man being his masculine self, a man being a procreator, right, does not mean, right, that as a woman that we must do the same thing or fall into the same trap of acting the way men act, right, in response to whatever misbehaviors.
Well, here's the thing. Man is off. then why would you want to act the way that he acts? And truly, sister, you can never act the way that a man acts. Honestly, a woman can never be a man. That's a huge misconception. And that's why when you find women who are too far in that direction, sister, you're imbalanced. Now, you may say, oh, no. Well, what happens when I've seen men who have tried to imitate women, and I've seen women complain at the actions of these men, saying this is far beyond even how we act as women.
How are men trying to imitate women?
Well, when we talk about certain behaviors in our community, you see men, effeminate men.
Oh, okay.
Right? And I'm not putting off on anybody. What I'm saying is that when we see that, we know that, brother, as far as you can go, you can never be a woman. And sister, as far as you can go, you can never be a man.
Hey, Sister Erica.
There is something innate in the quality of men and women by their nature and by the spirit of that's been put in them from the Creator, that they balance each other. And it's important that each one stay in their own place.
Yeah.
Because if we are out of our own place, we're imbalanced. So when a woman is trying to be, quote unquote, a man, take on the masculinity of a man, become as strong and as independent as a man, then there's an imbalance there. And you will find in most cases, women that are in that place, even if they can take care of their own bill, provide for their own self, they are not happy as women. And they still desire, for whatever reason, for a man to be in their life. Because it's a recognition that we have to have and understand that we need each other, but we need each other in the proper mindset. It almost, in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you went to the mall. Yeah. When you go to the mall, the men sit on one side, the women sit on the other. That's not done because we think one is lesser, but the idea is that when we're sitting alone among ourselves, our focus now is on the word. Our focus is on the lesson. You ain't focused on the brother with the good smelling cologne next to you, the sister with the good smelling perfume. That's not your distraction. I remember we would be in church passing notes. I like you. Do you like me? Circle yes or no. No. When you put us in an environment, and we even have classes that are separated. The men have a class, the women have a class. Men can't go in the women's class, women can't go in the men's class. And in each class, we deal with the unique problem that are facing that individual group. Well, what do women need to learn? What do men need to learn? What kind of conversation? And men know this when you know this. As a woman, if you in a room with other women and y'all having a woman conversation, and a man walk in, he get quiet. Yeah. Because there's certain things that women want to talk about and deal with and overcome that are not privy to the conversation and the judgment of men, and they should not be, because she needs to heal in her own place. And there are certain conversations men are having, you walk up and men get quiet, what y'all talking about, because there's certain conversations that men should have just among men. Why should we be this way? Because when people are sick, they need to be quarantined until they can heal. And we have to accept our sickness in our individual place and become quarantined and so that we can heal. Once we heal, we become something that the other can now be in a relationship with. Now I got a cold and I'm sitting next to you and my spittle and my breath. No, now you sick. But if I become well, then when I come in your presence, I don't infect you with my sickness. And if you're well, when you come in my presence, you don't infect me with your sickness. So we got to be quarantined so that we can heal, and that when we come together, it's a healthy relationship.
Totally agree. And I think that's really a good point, a good note to end on. It's recognizing our pain and our hurt. Right? Recognizing our trauma, recognizing that we are in a bad space internally, and the way we see each other is not in a healthy way, right? And so I feel as though in having that self-actualization, right? I think we need to hold ourselves and hold each other, right, responsible for doing the work to heal. right? Because when we go into relationships and we go into the community, right? So we go into these interactions with each other, right? It is not productive and this is not healthy. Recognizing, addressing. Thank you. Yes, Sister Erica. Like we need to take ownership, right? There's this big word accountability, right? I hear it thrown at women often, even though I can say hands down, women are taking the responsibility of healing. Not all of us, but it is happening, right? And I know in certain men circles of men, right, they're talking about mental health and therapy and all and stuff like that. And I think that's so important. And I think as a community, that really needs to be a common expectation, right? That we are at a space where we're healing and growing, and we are supporting each other in that way, right? Hold each other accountable. If you have friends, if you have family that you know that are not in a healthy space, have those conversations. If there's someone you're interested in, have that conversation with them. I can't deal with you. I can't interact with you. Let's talk. Let's talk, right? And I feel as though once we hold each other accountable in that way, it will help us to move the needle forward, right? And let's check those egos, because I know it's a lot of men who really don't want to acknowledge the fact that they're hurting and they're in trauma and they have the pain, and because of that ego, they're not doing the necessary work. How do you get past that ego?
Well,
I think women hold back. Don't
well,
hold back.
yeah,
That might help push that.
that may help.
Might help.
But a woman, just like a man, a woman has to be wise. Um, your femininity, sister, is powerful, and your femininity presented in a wise kind of way doesn't make you weak, but it can get past the male ego. See, so when two bulls meet, they clash, right? So you can clash with the man, right? And you probably will present a good argument. You intelligent enough and quick enough with your words that you could just shut the man down. But that's what you've done. You shut him down.
Yep.
But if you can say in a wise kind of way, you know, babe, when you did such and such and so and so and such the other day, I really didn't like that, and I didn't like it because of this reason or that reason. You understand what I'm saying? You may be surprised that the man will say, "Well, yeah, you're right."
Yeah.
It's a certain kind of way that a woman has, and you know how to do it, sister. Don't act like it's a mystery, because you can get out of that man whatever you want. So you know how to do it. The sisters know how to do it when it's something that they want. Well, you gotta want that man to be better. You gotta want that man to not be driven by his ego. You gotta want that man to work and deal with you from his higher self. And you have to use that same tact and skill that you use to get your Gucci bag, or all them Amazon orders that you keep bringing to the door, that you pulling out of the bank account, or whatever you getting done. The sisters have to learn how to use that same tact and skill to get past the male ego, and it's possible. And then if you see the man and you having a little trouble, when you reach the wall, don't keep pushing. Back up and be patient.
Yeah.
And then you go a little forward when you get another chance. And then you see it. But after a while, he'll listen. Men, I learned this from my minister, and I've learned it in my own life. Men have to learn to listen to women. We don't hear you, sister, and I don't know how to explain it.
I can attest to that.
You're talking, but we don't really hear you. It takes us a long time sometimes for us as men to learn how to listen to you. And that's a practice. It's a conscious practice.
Why? Is that nature? Is that like part
I just think it's the way that our minds are wired, right? Women, they're detailed, they're They're logical. They tell you the whole story. A man is a problem solver. Let's get straight to the point and let's solve the problem.
Okay.
So a lot of times what the woman is describing to him, he can't hear all of that because he's just waiting for the matter of fact, he may have solved the problem in the first 2 minutes of the conversation. So he just want to get to the solution to the problem. But what happens is sometimes you're not looking for the solution. You know the solution. But what you're trying to do is give him the full picture and the description. Right? If God didn't have a feminine quality, then when you looked at the flowers and you looked at you wouldn't see the beautiful colors that you see. Men, you ever heard of man colors? We just see if it's green, it's green. Right? If it's blue, it's blue. But women, you see in these beautiful colors, right? You see a pink rose and a yellow. It's the way that you are made. But it adds beauty and it adds depth and it adds description and it adds distinction. A man has to learn to see that, and he can't learn that until he learns how to listen to a woman. But then when you find a man like that, he sees the world better. His expression is better. His conversation is better. That's why when you see a lot of men, and understand this, I'm not talking about sexuality, but when you see men that are musicians, oftentimes they do have some feminine quality. Sometimes you'll shake their hand and he got a real soft hand, right? I'm not saying, brother, that you're a musician. That what I'm saying is that there are aspects of God and aspects of life that are masculine, and there are those that are feminine. So the lesson has to be. This is why the two have to interact. This is why the natural attraction, because the two interaction allows them to see the world and understand the world and process the environment more clearly and more balanced. So it ain't just that it's what he has to learn. The same as the woman has to learn how to communicate with him.
Yeah.
Because you can say some things to that brother and he shuts completely down. A woman don't know. It's nothing that can hurt a man more than a woman that he loves. She could say something to him or do, and it could crush him. He might not say nothing, but his spirit is crushed because he's opened himself up. He's not secure and protected. I could come and say the same thing as a man. He's like, man, what you talking about, dude? I'm a man. I got my own. So here's this struggle for balance, this struggle for us to learn. This is the importance of marriage and relationship. This struggle for us to learn how to interact with one another, how to build relationships with one another. See, now when we learn that, then we can produce strong families. And then we can produce strong children. We can produce strong communities. We can produce strong nations.
Sister Erica said, and it would take an extremely patient woman to tolerate being ignored.
Well, then you have to be patient. Wow. I will take this back to service. I understand it, sister, but I will take it back to service. And here's the waiter standing at the table. You know what you want to order?
Nope.
No, I don't know. Okay, I'll be back. You come back. Oh, I'm sorry. We weren't ready. Now imagine what would happen if the waiter came back and said, God damn it, I'm in the table. How many damn times like y'all still ain't got your food ready? What the hell with you? Not only would they not get a tip, you wouldn't eat the food that they brought, and they would lose their job. So when we want to serve each other, understanding that there's a benefit in our service to one another, then we find a way to be patient until the other matures.
It's out of love.
It's out of love.
That's the other
thing. We don't love each other enough.
It's out of love.
But when you love, you want to serve. And when you serve, you build love. And when a person loves you, then they'll listen to you. But the question has to become, why are you ignoring me?
Yeah.
What has led up to this moment? Because you wasn't ignoring me at first. Because if you were ignoring me at first, we wouldn't be in a relationship.
We wouldn't be at this point.
You just sat at the club and the man wanted to talk to you and you ignored him. Eventually he goes away. Or he gets your phone number, he calling you. You don't answer. Sometimes he stopped calling. Right? So if they were ignoring you in the beginning, then the relationship would have never happened. So if we're at a point where we're ignoring each other, then the question has to be answered and followed to say what happened to cause us to be at this point where we're ignoring each other. And that's going to take patience because you may have to backtrack 6 years. And then from that point, you start working out the problem. That's if you want to stay together.
Yeah. Yep.
We said a lot, right?
We said a lot. A lot was said, but I kind of expected it. It's a heavy topic.
It's a very heavy topic.
It's a heavy topic. It's an important topic. And I think a lot was said, and I think we covered a lot and enough to where our audience would have a lot to take away from. You know, some guidelines, right, that we can use, framework we can use in as we move forward, interacting with each other, sharing space with each other, learning how to live and love each other. So I really do appreciate the comments, the feedback, because it helps us to understand the direction that the conversation is going. It helps us to understand that you are receiving what is being said, and helps us to give clarity as to what's already been said. So thank you for everyone who took the time, right? Emphasis on time. Took the time, right, to check in, be a part of this conversation, listen, and share your thoughts. Do you have any closing words?
Can I invite them to my podcast as well?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
So Brother Tremikas has a podcast. It's on YouTube. I release usually every Wednesday around noon. But go to YouTube under Brother Tremikas, the same as you see my name here, Brother Tremikas, and subscribe to my podcast. We talk about those principles that affect our thinking, our development, to improve our lives so that we can become better members of this movement, better members of society, better members of our community. So these are some of the subjects this is some of the ideology that we're tackling in this podcast. I would love for you all to come to follow. I got some up now on the page you can watch, and we're teaching. We're getting down into it. So come join us in the study. And make sure you follow us. Anything
that's happening within the LOC that you want to share?
So on the 27th, we are going to have our next Tiny Desk Cafe here at Grassroots Bookstore, AfriSoul Marketplace. That's going to be at 7 o'clock. So come down and be a part of that. That's amazing. That's the only thing I have.
This next month, the Black History Month.
Oh, Black History Month. That's going to be February 11th here at Grassroots AfriSoul Marketplace. It's our third annual Black History Month celebration. That's going to be on the 11th. On the 18th of the month, Heart and Soil. For those of you who seen last weekend, we're having our second open air market at Heart and Soil. That's going to be from 1 to 4. So come out, be a part of it. Follow us on Instagram, so you'll see all the events, Phoenix LOC. You'll see everything that we're doing. Come be a part of it and come learn. We have a Grow Day, not this Sunday, but the Sunday after, 9 o'clock, 1200 West Vineyard. Come out. We're going to be planting. That's going to be real good. We're getting ready for our next harvest or our next planting season, so we can grow some more food, organic, non-GMO food. Help you to learn how to grow food yourself. So come be a part.
Awesome. Thank you, Brother Tremikas. Again, thank you. Appreciate it. And yes, he will be. You're going live tomorrow?
I won't go live tomorrow, but I'm going to release.
We're going to be posting. Okay.
I pre-record.
Oh, you pre-record. Awesome.
I got a powerful. I'm going to be interviewing Brother James and Sister Nika If y'all know Brother James, he's a wonderful brother, martial artist. He teaches martial arts to the Phoenix LOC. Oh, every Friday at 7 p.m., we offer Kung Fu training. So I'll be interviewing Brother James. This is Sanika, who's leading our ministry of agriculture and teaching our community how to grow. So that interview is going to be coming out real soon. So look forward to that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so they're all LLC members, all LLC members. And so yes, before I close off, thank you again. Please subscribe. If you're on Facebook, just go to YouTube, look for Across the Diaspora. No, the Sarbo Lifestyle. The Sarbo Lifestyle. That's the name of my channel. And just hit subscribe, like, because we're all about sharing information, having conversation in a meaningful way that really elevates and empower us as a community. So as we close off, please share what you've learned today. Please take this information and have conversation with your community, with your family, with those around you, because it's just taking us one step closer to the ideal community that we want for ourselves. All right. So appreciate and enjoy the rest of your week, everyone. Have a good night.